One-time basketball standout Corey Green, who is going to be the next superintendent for the Owego Apalachin School District.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That's old times for me there. I'm on to a different chapter here in my life, and beginning to become the new superintendent at Owego Apalachin starting July 1st. I'm really looking forward to it.
But I wanted to at least acknowledge, since you excelled in Whitney Point, and you're a proud member of the 1,000 Point Club from your career in high school basketball.
Yeah, that was obviously a great time many years ago. I actually the legendary Coach Halloran. I was at his house yesterday, spending some time with him. So it was good to catch up and talk about what's going on. Today. We didn't talk so much about the past, but about what the future holds.
And the coach is so widely respected. I mean, everybody has so much good to say about him and what he instilled in so many young people for so many years.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, those are life lessons that you learn back in high school that are just so important that I've carried with me throughout my life. So it's important that he knows that, that we all feel that way.
And I think, actually, although you didn't, I surprised you with this start to the interview, but I actually think this is important because I think it helps to emphasize how critical sports programs can be. And it's not the be-all and end-all,
sure.
but certainly the amount of learning and cooperation and discipline that's learned at an early age in school sports programs helps carry through for people in their adult lives and in their working lives.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you talk about any extracurricular programs, any extra opportunities for kids to be connected to a school district and a coach and a leader. Those are just important values that they may not always get someplace else. So you take it as you can get it, and you get a guy like Coach Halloran or any of these great teachers that have done excellent jobs with musical programs and other enrichment activities after school, and you take it and you run with it and you learn so much from them, and you still use it to this day. With your daily work of focus, discipline. You talk about a teamwork aspect, and you talk about leadership. So those are important things that I certainly learned. I learned from several people, definitely learned a ton from him, and continue to take that with me as I move forward.
So you grew up here in northern Broome County. Tell me a little bit about the early years and how that translated into your deciding to choose a career in education.
Yeah, obviously I spent a lot of time playing basketball and went to college and played college basketball and coached for a little bit in college basketball, coached a little bit in high school basketball. Spent a lot of time with kids after college, coaching and teaching, and that kind of, throughout that entire process, I always felt like I wanted to work with kids, and that was important. Those people were important to me in my life, and I felt it would be important for me to give back in that same field. So that's kind of where that came from. And 16 years later, I've been a teacher, I've been a building principal, I've been an assistant superintendent, working on finance and instructional programs, and now here I am. I'm at the next stage, next chapter, where I'm going to become the superintendent of schools. So I'm excited.
And actually, to the point, you, as far as teaching, at one point, you also were a phys ed teacher. It should be pointed out you've had some varied teaching experience here in New York State and even outside New York.
Yeah, I've taught right here in the city of Binghamton. Had a great experience. I've taught in the regular elementary classroom. I've taught 3rd grade, 5th grade. I've taught some physical education as well. So I've always, anytime there's opportunities that come up where I can be well-rounded and get a good sense of exactly what's going on, I take a jump at it. In my current situation, Dr. Christensen from the Sydney Central School District, he immersed me into the district office about 5 years ago. And, I've been fortunate. I've had a great deal of, a multitude of different experiences, out of the district office to prepare me to become a superintendent, where, that's not always the case for a lot of people in this business. They come maybe as a high school principal or as an elementary principal or maybe as a business manager only. So, I'm fortunate for the mentoring he's given me and the opportunity. So, I feel really prepared.
And it's notable your wife is a teacher in the Maine Endwell School District.
Yeah, my wife has been teaching 16 years now. She teaches first grade. God bless her. That's a tough job. People don't really understand, and the work that goes in there when you're talking about primary kids. I mean, all kids are challenging, and the work of education is challenging and rewarding. But when they're little like that, and all that energy and corralling them and helping them get focused, that's a tough job. And
especially given the challenges that are going on. Well, sometimes we say challenges. It's a euphemism for problems that are existent, prevalent in society today in every school district. It's not just, say, urban school districts like Binghamton or big districts like Johnson City or Vestal or Owego Apalachin. Even small school districts like Sydney have problems where you've got some kids coming from very poor homes with little, if any, real good supervision. We've got the ever-present problem of drugs and substance abuse. What is happening in education in 2016 is probably posing some of the most difficult challenges for teachers and administrators ever.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you look at upstate New York in general, and a lot of the we've lost students. Fortunately, Owego has been pretty consistent. They've maintained their enrollment quite well, which is a really good thing. That shows a lot to the character of the community. There's those challenges for sure. You're dealing with a different demographic here in upstate New York than it was probably 20 years ago. I think the poverty is a little bit more at the forefront, and really being focused and understanding, where these kids are coming from and the support that they need on a daily basis is truly essential in being effective in education.
Corey Green was officially appointed to be the next superintendent for Owego Apalachin at last Thursday's Board of Education meeting. So he must have been excited to have that formal vote happen and say, okay, this is my next chapter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was great. I was at the board meeting. I certainly thank the board for having the confidence in me to be able to come down there and lead their school district. They've had some challenging times for sure over the past decade. Dr. Russell's done an exceptional job. They've dealt with a couple of floods. They've dealt with some challenges financially with the loss of foundation aid and the gap elimination. So they've really rallied. They're kind of back to the point where things are settling in. They've got their buildings just about all completed. Students are back in Owego Elementary. So there's good things going on. There's a sense of normalcy there, and the focus has always been on student achievement, but I think the focus now is, can we take it to the next level in regards to student achievement.
You mentioned Dr. William Russell. Bill Russell started on July 1st of 2006, just hours after that 2006 flood. I remember being in Owego and touring actually on July 1st of 2006 and seeing Senator Tom Libous and the Tioga County Sheriff Gary Howard as they were looking at some of the damage. And so Superintendent Russell, as he started work with the district, had to deal with that flood, and little did he know that just a little over 5 years later, he and the school district and so many Tioga County residents would face an even greater challenge with the flood that happened in September 2011.
Yeah, that's those are great challenges, and honestly, that's one of the things that attracted me to the district, was to see the adversity that the community and the staff and the students had been through, and just to see how they've rallied and where they're at right now. They really haven't missed a beat. They continue to be strong academically. Their extracurricular programs are solid. At the board meeting the other night, there was mention of the NISMA competitions and all the successes that came out of there. You look at their volleyball program, at the state championship, and their swimming program at state championship levels. So there's a multitude of different areas that they're having great success in, and to be able to pull through that as well as they did is exceptional.
So you're going to continue in your present role with the city school district until the end of June, and then enjoy those few hours of welcome relief in the transition. You officially will start as the Owego Apalachin superintendent the following day on July 1st.
Yeah, I think probably as soon as I leave here, my next phone call will be to Dr. Russell to start talking about transition. He's been great. We're certainly going to spend some time together to talk about different things that are going on, and then things that he's got that he's trying to wrap up, and that that I'll need to have a good sense of where they're at. So that piece is going to be really important, that transitional piece. I'm trying to wrap up and tie up loose ends of Sydney as well. So I'll be kind of wearing two hats here, but I certainly better get used to it.
These have been very unusual times in terms of education and sometimes different bits of guidance, we'll say, from Albany and from Washington, and educators are facing this, and parents and students have been immersed in what truly has been a confusing time with Common Core, and okay, we're going to push things through, and then, well, slam on the brakes. I mean, at one point, even the state education commissioner, when he came to Binghamton, wound up facing a hostile crowd. Of course, now he left New York State and went on to become the United States Education Secretary. He's probably almost glad that he's in Washington overseeing all of the nation's education than having to deal as New York's Education Commissioner. Those were tough times during his short tenure, and that points up the fact that these will be tough times in the next few years, because who knows exactly where things will go with the guidance from the State Board of Regents and a new State Education Commissioner.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of unknowns at this point. The things that I stay focused on, and then the conversations that I've had with people in Owego and the Board of Education, is that we need to continue to do what we're going to do and focus on what's important, and continue to to provide kids a high quality education. Continue to give staff the support that they need, and all the pieces will fall in place if those things are happening. If everybody's working really hard and doing what's best for kids, regardless of whatever comes out of the federal government and state education, we'll be in good shape.
As you mentioned, you'll be having many conversations with Dr. Russell over the next few weeks. Right now, based on what you know about the Owego Apalachin School District, what do you sense will be one of your top priorities as you become superintendent starting in July?
Yeah, for me, really, the biggest priority is getting in the district, getting all into all the buildings, getting into the different forums within the community, meeting all different people, just to get a sense of their schools and what they feel about their schools and what's important to them. In any school district, you're always evaluating certain areas. There's areas where you're doing really well, and there's some areas that you need to improve upon. So I already know that they're looking at a lot of these areas, but we're going to look closely at them. We're going to have conversations with people. We're going to develop plans, and we're going to improve those areas. So a lot of the beginning stages is really building relationships and people getting to know me and understand me and what I'm all about, and how I can lead the district.
Corey Green, who will become the Owego Apalachin School Superintendent on July 1st. Congratulations. We wish you the best, and certainly you're always welcome to stop by the studio and basically continue to communicate your goals as the weeks go forward. We definitely wish everybody the best with the Owego Apalachin School District.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Anytime I can get an opportunity to come in and talk about the great things that are going on at Owego, I'll certainly be here. I'll be hopping in the car and right over. So once again, thanks for having me. This has been great, and looking forward to it.